I'm going to break down the contents of this kit. I'm not going to do it cleanly, I'm just going to spill it out. All right, so I've got my nice little waterproof kit. Things that I want to take with me. Talked about some P-cord. I have some P-cord in here. Some form of a fire starting method. This may be a bow drill and a hand drill that's attached to the side of your pack, but you know, always convenient to have methods that are more compact, a little bit easier on the muscles. That said, right here I have a magnesium and ferro rod. And one thing that they don't tell you in the instructions in general is, you know, you're supposed to, take this off. You're supposed to scrape a bunch of magnesium into about a quarter-size pile. And then with this ferro rod on the outside, you're able to strike it and get a spark that hits the magnesium. It is, first of all, time-consuming to scrape even a quarter-size amount of magnesium. And under windy conditions or wet conditions, it can be hard to amass it into a pile. So I've already prepared inside a piece of tin foil or plastic or whatever you want, a bunch of these magnesium shavings so that in bad conditions, I don't know if you can see that, but I already have this pile ready to go. It takes up no space at all and can really expedite the fire making process for you. So keep those in mind if you do this. A Bic lighter, phenomenal, right? Easy breezy. I really like having a clear white lighter because I'm able to look at the sun and see how much fluid is inside. And that, you know, just simply tells me kind of how much I'm using per day, how much I have left, how conservative I need to be. So a lot of times the ones that have the covering with the designs on the outside, you just peel it off and you come out with sort of a white lighter that is not, you know, translucent, or but a little bit, you know, you can see through it. Moving on. Nice to have an extra knife with you. A lot of different designs that you can use for this, and we're going to come back to it, but having a second blade is never a bad idea. When you're stressed out, sometimes it's nice to have something that comforts you. For me, that's coffee. And my secondary excuse is that if I'm in a situation where I need to be up a little bit longer than I would like, I'm a little bit tired, having a bit of caffeine is actually a good thing. So not only am I able to relax when I'm maybe scared from some survival situation or something intense going on because of the comfort of the smell and taste of coffee for me, it also can perk me up if I need a little extra energy because I need to work harder because I'm in a scenario that requires it of me. Electrolyte tablets, dried pineapple, dried ginger with sugar on it, emergencies, phenomenal for making sure that your electrolytes are in balance. So I'll take some of those with me. A package of peanut butter. Surprisingly, this is not necessarily for me to eat. Actually, this is for me to use as bait. There are a lot of small game that enjoy the taste of peanut butter. I mean, it's like cake with cherry on top kind of a scenario. I can keep this clean. When you bait something, the last thing you want to do is have the oils and the food all over your hands, touching all the different parts of your trap. With this, I can just squeeze it right where I want and keep it off of my hands so that I can continue to work with the woods that I'm using for my deadfalls. So a little packet of peanut butter is a great idea. Another thing that I'm going to want to have on me is my compass. Super important. Of course, there are ways of telling time by the stars and the sun and the moon and the direction, but having a compass is huge. When we talk about navigation, we're going to talk about how to use this. I might have it in my kit or around my neck, just carrying it like this so I can always reference it. An emergency whistle. You know, if you're really, really lost, oftentimes making a noise is not going to help you. You need a signal that can be seen from the sky. But sometimes you're injured and maybe you can't move and you can hear people, or you're in a canyon and you can hear echoes of people nearby. Having something like a whistle is a great idea. I'm also going to show you how to make a very loud, sort of feral noise as a human being, a very guttural noise in a moment. A headlamp with some extra batteries that are somehow still packaged. We don't want these to corrode and accidentally, you know, get wet or something like that. There's no purpose to it after that. Night vision is something that you should really begin to practice. Night travel can be very critical, especially if you're in a really, really hot environment and you don't want to be traveling during the hottest parts of the days where your cones can work and you can see things clearly, but instead you want to be doing some night travel, and you need to learn how to use your rods, how to treat your feet like your hands. And anywho, having a light like this is great just because it's comforting and can use that night. Extra batteries. Salt kind of goes along with the electrolytes and the coffee mix and the flour. Taste, making sure that you keep these things in balance so that you don't become kind of foggy in the brain. So some salt is a salt rack. I'll show you how to use it later. A Sharpie can be good for a lot of different things, taking notes and such. Particularly if you're with somebody else who's injured and you need to be taking notes on their blood pressure and their heart rate and all this kind of stuff, having something to write on or leave a note, just like our Karens, you know, leave a note telling people where you're trying to go or where you're heading or what your thoughts are on your scenario. So having some type of writing device is great. As far as first aid materials are concerned, this is what I have with me. Coflex, which is still in its packaging because I want to keep all of my first aid materials as clean as possible, right? The nice thing about Coflex, you can look it up if you don't know what it is that it binds to itself. It sticks to itself, so you don't need those little pins that you have oftentimes find with ace bandages that you can lose and they don't always stay put. So Coflex is great. Some clean gauze, once again, still in its packaging. Great to use for compression against wounds and things that are bleeding, also just to keep things sterile. A roll of tape. This comes in handy for so many different reasons I can't even tell you. But one thing that I use it for, along with these benzoin tinctures, is if I have any hot spots or blisters. What I'm going to do is take the tape bind it back on itself so that it doesn't stick to my blister or hot spot and hurt, and roll it over maybe a couple times, and then I can go ahead and wrap my finger or whatever's wounded. The benzoin tincture is phenomenal. You put this sort of around the edges of the tape and it helps so that it doesn't come off even when wet. This helps us conserve on our supplies, on our resources. So if you have something that doesn't need to breathe much more, you don't need to air it out every night or whatever, or if you're walking a lot and your feet are all sweaty and you want to make sure that this tape stays in place, this combination is great and also, you know, very small, easy to carry with you. Highly recommended. I have some antibiotic ointment, you know, some antiseptic hand towelettes, and some little suture strips. I tend to carry with me instead pinion pitch that's processed and oil is added to it, and it's in a salve form now. This is phenomenal for everything, for dry skin, dry lips, open wounds that need something like an antibiotic. Pine resin is really clean, we'll say, and so it can be a great thing to add to your injuries. And the last thing is some soap that is, you know, good for the earth. It's biodegradable. Keeping your hands clean out here is really critical to your health. So you want to keep your nails short so that grime doesn't get underneath them, and you want to wash your hands as often as possible so that when you're putting things in your mouth, you're not putting things in that can make you sick. So when we get back to water, the biggest thing with waterborne illnesses is actually that there are parasites that live in the intestines of humans and animals, and they come out through our feces, and when they get into our water, they make us really, really sick. Gross, but the same thing can happen with stuff that gets stuck onto your fingernail, maybe when you're wiping, and you can actually make yourself sick from your own poo. So keep your hands clean. This is also another psychological thing for me. When I wash my face in the morning, I feel refreshed and awake and in a different mental state than I do when I wake up kind of grimy. If I'm not taking my vanity mirror with me, I'm certainly taking a signal mirror with me. We're going to talk about how to use this a little bit later. With all of these items, you should know how to use all of them before you pack them and bank on them for a survival situation. This is a really personalized kit. All kits should be personalized. This is my kit for what I would need, presuming that I'm sort of going out on a trip that is a low-tech adventure. I'm not predicting major risk to the scenario, but I have a little bit of everything that I need to make me feel confident that I could take care of myself if I, for some reason, lost all my other equipment. The last item I would definitely have on my person is a water bottle. A steel canteen that I can put directly in the fire if I need to boil it. As I mentioned before, I might use my scarf to carry it as such, around my shoulder or whatever. Like my survival kit, my knife, my map and compass, my water should be on my person. Clothes are actually the things that are easiest to replace in the wild, I've found, because we're going to talk about all the different types of materials that can protect us from the elements. Certainly nice to have them, don't get me wrong, but these are really the items that you don't want to lose, and a water bottle is a big one for me. I enjoy also having a cup. These fit really nicely into each other. I can cook in this, boil water in this cup, transfer it into my water bottle so that I can continue to boil more. I mean, it's just really convenient to have this kind of a setup, a duo. There's a lot of different types of cup and water bottle containers, but keep them metal, make sure that you can put them into the fire.